Alright guys, welcome back, and we're ready to put this all this assembly back. I got all the parts in. That's why we had a little bit of hold up, a little break here, so had to get some more parts. Got me a nice cool in here. As you can see, it's got a little bit cooler here now too. It's all dark, dreary, raining out there. Alright, so let's get started. Let's put this thing back together. Now, first thing I'm going to do, which is some of the obvious stuff, I'm going to show you back in here. This is where this here spring, the lower part of this spring is going to be at. So basically I'm just going to go in there with some brake cleaners. Just kind of clean this thing out a little bit. Let's make it nice and pretty in there. Alright. By the way, this here retainer that fits down on here, it's a slip fit. It just slips on there. So when we were prying this thing off, it was a little bit of corrosion. That's what was holding it on. That looks good to me. Alright, what we want to do is we want to go up here on the top. We want to clean up that post up there where the spring is going to be sitting on up at the top. So let's go up there, which is going to be right down here. So I'm going to clean a little bit of that. Get some of this here, any kind of residue that's on there. There, got a little bit of crap coming off. Yeah. Now, I'm not going to show you this on the other side. I'm just showing you what I'm doing on this side, and I'm going to repeat the procedure over on the other side. Just save you guys some time. Okay. Now, while we're there, I didn't look at it really good in the last video, but I'm looking at it now. It's just a metal. It's all metal cone here, and he looks pretty darn good to me now. Yep, and he's all clean around there. Okay, now I got the spring. Here's our upper isolator. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to replace him, so let's go ahead and pop him on out. Okay. Take notice of this right here. If you see right there, there's that stop. That's where the end of the coil is going to be butted right up against. Now if you go around on the other side, if you look, you notice you don't see any kind of cutout where this spring could stop into. So it's only one spot. Okay. Here's a new one. So that's where the end of the coil is going to go to. Okay. Just so you can see it one more time. There's the other side. And here's this side. Alright, so let's take this here. I'm going to put it in, snap it in. Okay. I'm going to turn it, make sure it's butted up next to the end of that rubber. There it is, right there. Okay. Now I'm going to take some silicone paste, okay. Now where the top of this rubber fits up around in there, I'm just going to put a little bit in there, kind of serve as a little bit of a lubricant. Hopefully it'll keep it a little bit softer over the years too. So I'm just going to put a little bit right there. And I'm going to put a little bit up here on top of this also. And let's get them all around, okay. Alright, now I have this spring retainer. Believe it or not, Volkswagen calls that a spring bushing. You would never ever guess that, would you? Alright, let's go ahead and put him on down in there. And now, as you will see, he just fits right on down on there. There's no fit, no pressing or anything like that. See, he'll turn freely. Alright, we're going to try to get this here spring back up in there. Oh my goodness, that thing is definitely a lot more snugger. You notice how before it was way up in here? So it's definitely a lot tighter. All right. Okay, somewhere about right there. Alright guys, this now the spring coil is over this here spring retainer, but it looks like it's only just a small portion of the spring that's kind of over the spring retainer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise this here beam axle up just a little bit, just to keep this spring, to make sure that he stays in contact. So that looks better. It's probably about half of the coil of this spring is wrapped around that retainer. At least that way I know it ain't going to try to pop off once we do the other side over there. Alright, now just as one last thing, just show you that my marks are lining up. It may not make any difference on that, but I'm going to put it back just like it came out. Okay. Okay guys, we got the spring in. I'm going to go over to the other side. I'm going to repeat that procedure, cleaning what you saw, and then I'm going to put the spring in. Once I get the spring in, I'll catch you guys in the next shot where we start putting the shock absorbers on. Alright guys, what I'm doing here, I'm on the other side of the car. Just got through putting the spring in. I've got some tension, I raised it up, the spring is compressed just a little bit, so I'm going to the very bottom of this here spring retainer where the spring sits down on. And I'm going in about the middle of the spring with this tape measure, trying to keep it vertically. Looks like 12.5 inches. And I'm measuring to right here, okay? So I'm going to go to the other side of the car. I'm going to set that as same thing, 12.5 inches. Okay guys, back on the left-hand side of the car. Just got through jacking it up a little bit on the suspension here. Got 12.5 over here on this side also. So both sides are up at the same distance, should have the same amount of tension on the spring here. Alright, so next step, let's go ahead and get these shock absorbers in. Hey guys, I put some penetrating oil on this here to kind of get this here rust and corrosion off, so hopefully this thing will break loose good. Alright, this is a 16mm nut. I want to open this thing up. I want to pull all these pieces off. Got some needle nose vice grips. You can see right here it's a little flat spot here on the end of this here shaft. Let's see if we can break this thing loose. There we go. Well, can't get my wrench off. Let's just use the opening end on here. I'm getting this here nut off. Volkswagen recommends that you use new nuts. Of course, when you get your new shock, you will get a new nut there. So now we can see how bad that is. That's just totally broke inside there. Yeah, broke. Alright, now let's slide this here piece right here off. Okay. Alright, so there he is. Now we also have this little cap right here. I can see if we can get that joker off. Just push him up. We'll work him off of there. So he'll come off. You can see what he looks like under the underside. Okay. And that looks like that's pretty much it. Oh yeah. Definitely bad there. Okay. Alright. I guess one other thing we could do, we could go ahead and we'll separate these two pieces here. Okay. Did you notice it was sitting right in that groove right there? Here's the top part of it. Okay. And there you go. There's the inside. Nothing to it. Okay. And here's another little better shot of that. You can see it does have a little sign of some damage there. Otherwise, I don't see any other splits or cracks anywhere. But you can tell this has some wear. Okay. Now, I do want to mention one other thing. right here on the end of the shaft, right here on this here shock absorber, there is a circlip. You can actually buy those if you wanted to separately from Volkswagen. Actually, I bought them and not knowing that I need them before I got the shocks in. So when you get your new shock, and this is a Senso shock, this is supposed to be the OEM replacement for it. If you notice right here, it does come with a circlip, so you don't have to worry about trying to buy that. Okay, let's go ahead and unsnap this thing. Okay, notice it comes right on out. Okay, now let's see what kind of resistance this one's got. Oh yeah, and as you can see, he comes right back out, which is different from what the others did because they didn't ever come out. Alright, first thing we want to do is we want to start getting our new parts on here. So we're going to put him over there. Just want you to be aware of one thing. Now these look like they're probably the original shocks. Alright, you see, notice right here everything is all smooth around here. We got this cap, right? It goes down and it'll go right on there, no problem. However, the new shock, if you notice, does not have, it's not round all the way around. We have these tiny little pieces of metal protruding out, 4 spots. Alright, here's the new one, just like the original. So I take it that I'm going to probably have to tap down on this thing, trying to get this thing to seat over this. At least I hope I can get it on there. Okay, let me get me a rubber mallet here. Alright guys, I tried to tap this thing down here. Now if you look right here, you see how that one lines up, and I'm going to spin it around. Okay, now look right here, you see that one right there, there's no notch, and basically this thing will not go down over top of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put a little mark here. Come on, magic marker. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a Dremel and I'm going to just grind out a small piece of that plastic so I can get this thing to go down over there. So that looks like one there. See right here is another one. And we'll do a little grinding on that one right there. Let's see where else we might have one. I think he actually slipped on me, so I think he's alright. Okay, there's one I marked. And he looks like he may go. Maybe I'll get a little bit on him. And there's my other one that I previously done. Alright guys, I'm going to be grinding away on this a little bit, so I'm going to catch you guys back in the next shot here. Alright guys, this is what I did. I just did a little grinding out all the way down here to the bottom. Make sure that you get this out cleaned out, make it reasonably flat. I know it doesn't look pretty, but I believe it's going to work though. Okay, and this is what I use. I used a Dremel. Had a little rock there, got down inside. Just went around in there and just did a little grinding out. Alright, let's see if this thing is going to fit on there. Alright, hopefully it will. Let me get one of my notches. I'm going to try to use one of these to line up with that. And then let me see if we can kind of get this thing started. There we go. That worked out pretty good. Okay, let's do a little tapping. Make sure he's seated flat. Yep, sounds good. Sounds good. Okay, so that one's good. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Maybe a little bit right over here. Okay. Yeah, and he won't turn either. So, okay. Got a new pieces here. Now I'm going to go by this one over here, and it was right there in that groove, so that's where I'm going to stick this thing at. Try to get them up in there. Okay. Alright, he's good. Okay, now we're going to slide this right down over that. Okay. Alright, we have our shock mount. This is also made by Senso. It's got to be good. It's made in Taiwan. Okay. St. Nat shocks actually are made in China, so that's even better. Okay guys, let's now remember, you'll get your new nut here with your shock absorber. So let's go ahead and put him on. Notice that notice how this here goes out to the outside. So he's going to go on just like that. Okay, that's a locking nut, so we'll have to tighten them on down. Alright, I got my needle nose vice grips. Got my 16mm wrench. Oh, he decides he wants to be another size here. Okay, 17mm now. Oh, let's tighten him on up. I'm running out of nut here for the wrench to hold on to. Now, this is a German design, and it probably is. I'm loving it. Alright guys, when I was using the open end wrench, the nut went down so far I couldn't get a hold of it, so I flipped it over and I'm on the box end. I don't know how far we can go with it, but let's see how this will work. Yeah, looks like he's trying to about slip off on me now. Well, looks like I'm going to have to hold the shaft, so I'm going to do that in the next step. Bad as I hate to do that, I'm going to take a rag and I'm going to fold it up and I'm going to throw a pair of vice grips on here. So I'll let you see that in the next step. Guys, I couldn't find a way to hold this thing because I was running out of nuts. So as much as I don't like to do it, I've took this rag, I folded it over several times, got a pair of vice grips, and hopefully that's going to hold this thing enough so I can get this nut tightened up. Don't have a torque setting on this nut. I think that'll be good enough. Okay. Everything's good. Alright guys, when you get this thing on, and I'm assuming this is right, but this gets locked pretty good where this here shock mount does not freely turn around, okay? So actually this is the part that's moving up and down, which makes sense. You would think this will be secured pretty good. I'm going to take and put a little silicone paste, maybe to make it screw up in there a little bit easier. Okay. I'm going to try to bottom it out. Just keep going with it until it stops. Oh, I do believe that is it. Right, guys, we got one more thing to do. We need to put a weather cap on here. So I got two new weather caps. That's what they look like. They're from Volkswagen. Let's hope this thing will fit on this here. I cannot believe it. Unbelievable. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So that completes this shock. So I'm going to be working on the next shock, and then once I get that one complete, then I'll show you putting it in there. Alright, Volkswagen recommends to use new bolts here. These are two bolts, remember, that goes up here at the top, up in there. Two bolts. They recommend replacing these bolts. So I have new bolts to go back in. These bolts are from the Volkswagen dealership. Now, when you get your shock mount, you will actually get some bolts, but you know, I'm sure they're fine. They look okay, but looking at them, it look kind of Mickey Mouse having this separate washer and a lock washer and all that. So I decided to just get some new bolts from Volkswagen. All right, so let's go ahead and get this thing in. Kind of compress down on the shock a little bit. Give us a little bit of maneuvering room. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this down inside this holder down there. Okay, there he goes. And we'll make sure he goes down inside over here, and he does. Okay, let's see if we can't get us. I'm just gonna kind of let him drop down there like that. Okay. I'm gonna put a drop of Loctite on these. Okay. This is blue thread locker. And let's see if we can get this bolt started up in there somewhere. Okay, let's get another one. A little bit of a little bit of thread locker. Okay. I got a 16mm socket. Just want to snug them up a little bit. Alright, we'll come back to that later. Again, guys, I'm using new bolts, nuts. These from Volkswagen. This will be going down in the bottom of the shock here. Now, what I have to do is I have to jack it up a little bit so that the bracket here can get lined up with the bolt hole that's in the shock. Bolt will go this way. Okay, nut over here. It's got a 16mm on each side. Got a ratchet on one side and a wrench on the other. Let me just snug them for right now. Alright, these two bolts at the top are supposed to be torqued to 22 foot-pounds plus another quarter turn. So, okay, that one's already there. Let's go to this one. Okay. Now let's get a quarter turn on it. Okay, let's see if we can get that quarter turn. I believe, I'd say that's close enough. Nothing critical here. Oh, okay. Anyway, guys, you know what spec is. 22 foot-pounds, then another quarter turn. On the lower bolt for the shock, this is going to be 30 foot-pounds plus another quarter turn. Alright, he's already there. Now let's see if we can get that quarter turn here. Or at least say reasonably close anyway. It's going to be a little hard to do. Me holding it and trying to do this. Let's give it a little more. I say close enough. Okay guys, I'm going to repeat this procedure and I'm going to do that on the other side. Welcome back guys. As you can see, we got the car back together. We're out here doing a test drive now. Just got on kind of the interstate here. Went over some country roads. Went on the interstate. Guess what? Not one single iota of any clinging, clanging, banging, chinging, anything. No noise at all. I don't hear anything. Woohoo! Are you crazy? Okay, so we're getting ready. I'm going to make some turns here, and we just let you listen for it a little bit here for about a minute or so. Slowing down, I've done some of that. I've slowed down, gone left, gone right, done braking, done acceleration. So I've done just about everything I could to try to recreate this noise. So I think feel pretty confident that we actually have the problem resolved here.
They learn hard.
I need something more than this here to get up there where he's at. Alright, we're gonna make a turn. We're gonna head on back to the house. Okay guys, that's gonna be a wrap up on this video. Now while I was back there in the back and looking over other things, and I didn't mention it, but we do have some brake pads that's a little bit worn. Probably about 1/8 of an inch just left, so I'm thinking what we're gonna do is we're gonna do another little video series. I'm gonna do the back for sure. Gonna put some new rotors on there, and also we're gonna be possibly doing the front. I'll check them out, and maybe do a brake flush too, just clean this whole system out with brake flush. So anyway guys, you guys take care, and we'll see you guys later, and we appreciate you guys watching.